What's up, YouTube? Today I've got a pretty cool video for you. I've got a triple shadow team submitted to the channel by Jamie Finn himself. Yes, the shadow legend who always uses 3 shadow Pokemon to hit legend. Actually submitted battles to this channel, which is super cool. I really appreciate him. If you don't know who I'm talking about, definitely go check him out. I'll try to remember to link his channel in the description. But the team that he took a look at is one that was in my top teams video for the Remix Cup a week ago. And I believe these battles were actually done in the Remix Cup. However, all of these Pokemon are available in the Retro Cup. So if you're looking to run this team, you totally could. It's Shadow Alolan Marowak, Shadow Amoonguss, and Shadow Pidgeot. I think these Pokemon are still very strong. So without further ado, let's take a look at Jamie Finn's battles. Now, he was kind enough to edit and put this whole thing together for me, so if there's a tiny bit more time in between videos or before the videos or before the battles start, that might be why. But hopping right away into the first match, we have Medicham on the lead. Now, this is a great lead for the Marowak, and the opponent switches out into an even worse Pokemon in Clefable. So a bit of an interesting choice by our opponent. And it looks like our opponent is actually on Charm, which means that this can only be a Swift, which is double resisted on the Marowak. So yeah, just going to let this go, and then they come in with a Bastiodon. Now, where do you go from here? Do you just stay in this matchup and go get off 2 Bone Clubs and then go down? And it looks like that is what we're going to do. Go for 2 double super effective Bone Clubs, which will chip the Bastiodon to 1 HP. Now we can just come in with a Amoonguss and, yeah, align the Pidgeot onto the Medicham. They've got nowhere to go, so they just resign the match. Right away into the next match, we've got a Tinkaton on the lead. Another great lead for Shadow Alolan Marowak. They throw 1 Fairy Wind and then switch into Furret. Now this team does not have a great response for Furret in the back, so we're just going to chip with the Bone Club and then come in with our Pidgeot. Our opponent ends up throwing on alignment, allowing an entire Gust in for free, which is massive because that means we can get to an Air Cutter without even giving up a shield in this matchup and maintaining alignment. The opponent will probably just come back in with Tinkaton, but we're just going to overfarm here, and our opponent once again throws on alignment. I guess they're just trying to get rid of this thing, but no, they bait with a Bulldoze for some reason. They had no reason to bait there. We were just farming to force them to throw their energy, but that allows us to connect with a Brave Bird, instant pivot into our Marowak, getting 1 Fire Spin of damage in, which means they're in Astonish farm down range and baiting out their back Pokemon in Corsola, which is fantastic because now we can align our Amoonguss on this, and we have 2 shields remaining. So we're going to use all of our shields here. The worst charge move from the Tinkaton we know is Bulldoze because they exposed it, and no way they're running Bulldoze and Heavy Slam. So just going to double shield the Nightshades, go for the full farm down. The opponent realizes what's going on. We snipe with the Pidgeot when the Tinkaton comes back in, and then we have back-to-back foul plays loaded. I think they were just 1 Astonish farm down range, yeah, so could have just gone for the extra Astonish, but going for, I guess, the safe play and double foul play, and we are able to take that win. More neutral lead. In the next match, we've got Shadow Alolan Marowak into Grumpig, and they safe switch into a Furret once again. So yeah, you can see this cup was very similar to the cup that we're currently in right now with all the Grumpig and Furrets around, but don't have a great response. So just gonna actually stay in the matchup this time. No shielding the Trailblaze. That is single resisted on the Marowak. Swift would be double resisted, but we're actually able to get the knockout there. So now where do we go from here? Are we just gonna go down and then align our Amoonguss onto the Grumpig? I imagine that is what we're going to do, making the decision which Pokemon is in the back, I guess. I'm going to align the Amoonguss here. Psywave is super effective, but so is Astonish, and so is Foul Play. We are going to shield up 1 charge move. This does force them to go for the Shadow Ball, which they do, and at this point, they have a Pangoro in the back. So I'm surprised we're throwing energy here, but just grabbing that shield first before we come into the Pidgeot matchup. That way the opponent is forced to full send a close combat, and that actually means that 4 Gusts are enough to KO the Pangoro, and now this game is over. If the opponent wants to get a knockout here, they're going to be forced to throw energy, and that means that we can just come back in with the Amoonguss, and I believe we're out of foul play, and Dynamic Punch doesn't even KO from that range, so able to get to the Air Cutter, and Air Cutter does pick up the knockout against the Grumpig. Into the next match, we've got a Primeape on the lead, and we're actually going to make a catch of the Rage Fist, waiting the turn, after throwing 2 fire spins and catching the Rage Fist onto our Amoonguss. Unfortunately, we do lure out a Furret, but that is okay because Furret, obviously, we want to see it against our Marowak, I guess, or get it low enough that we can fully Gust farm it down with our Pidgeot. We're going to connect with back-to-back foul plays here, getting the Furret deep into the red. Now, where do we go from here? Do we go for the Fire Spin farm down? Yes, we do. We're going to come in with the Marowak. We know we can take any charge move here, so we are going to no shield. It is the Trailblaze, which will boost their Sucker Punches, but they don't get too many of those, and they are energy dry on the lead Primeape there, but they actually have a Jellicent in the back. So now we have a Core Breaker in Shadow Pidgeot. In comes Shadow Pidgeot. All we have to do, we can no shield this, or we can shield it up. We are going to decide to shield it up, and we do have enough of an energy lead that this forces the opponent to actually go for a close combat, undercharging, go for a little bit of BM. Do they full send the close combat? They do not. They bait with a Rage Fist. We get the full Gust farmed out. The opponent sees the writing on the wall, and they resign the match. A little crossover between Jamie Finn and Home Slice Henry in that one. Struggling to get to that Frigibax, up to 26-60 it looked like. But another great lead, Marowak into the Primeape. Going to do the exact same thing, waiting the turn, catching onto our little mushroom here. And they actually switch in a Grumpig. So yes, their side waves are super effective, but we have an energy lead here because we're able to sneak a Astonish in, which means we can actually get to 2 foul plays. The opponent is going to farm up perfectly and just go for the Dynamic Punch. We have grabbed a shield in this matchup. The only issue here is we might have to give a shield back unless we come in with Pidgeot. So I actually really like this play. We are going to shield it up. Maybe worried about whatever's in the back, potentially a Ghost, because that team is pretty common, Fighter, Psychic, Ghost. And no, it's a Tinkaton in the back, so unfortunate that we use the shield there. They do go for a super effective Bulldoze here. It is super effective, but it won't do big damage. And they actually catch a Shadow Bone, which is a great read from Jamie Finn there, expecting the catch. They then come in back with their Tinkaton. A Bulldoze is still not going to be enough to KO from this range, and Fairy Winds are resisted, so yeah, after they survive that, they just resign the match. Tough lead in the next match. We've got a Diggersby. This is a pretty tough lead, so we do end up going for a catch, and we're unsuccessful, which means now the opponent can actually spam out these Fire Punches, but they're actually going to only throw 1, and then they come in with Togetic. This is about as bad as it gets. But now, at least we've baited out the Fairy, because at least Shadow Alolan Marowak can punish it here. We are going to overfarm slightly here, throwing the Shadow Bone right before they make it to their next Psyshock. I believe they were already at it, but the opponent overfarming here. They're going to go for 1 and the move. Psyshock will connect. It'll do some okay chip, but it will not be enough to... No, they're going to go for a resisted Dazzling Gleam instead. Bit of an odd play from the opponent. Do end up going for a catch there. Did we get the catch of the Scorching Sands is the question. No, the opponent reacted in time. Fire Punch, but they have a Tropius in the back, so this is massive because now we can connect with an Air Cutter. That is super effective damage, and we get the attack boost, which means after that Gust connects, only 1 more Gust will be needed to get the knockout here, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We come out with the charge move loaded. We're going to overfarm here, farm up to the Brave Bird, but now baiting with an Air Cutter. Does the opponent respect it? They don't. They call the bait, and that is so unfortunate. We're going to shield this up because all we need to do is grab that final shield from the opponent. So just clicking the move, Air Cutter is grabbed, and at this point we have energy banked on the Marowak, so we're going to snipe with the Marowak and get to the Bone Club. I haven't even watched these battles, but I already know what's going to happen. Interestingly, the next match is pretty neutral. Marowak into Pidgeot, and the opponent... Ooh. Yeah, I guess all of our charge moves are resisted, double resisted at that. So just going for the harder hitting stab, Shadow Bone, and then just going to take a soft loss on the lead. Now where do we go from here? Do we come in with our own Pidgeot? Yes, we do. Get the Gust farm down, and it's a Walrein in the back, and we are double weak to Ice, and they have gotten rid of our Ice answer. So this is going to be a really tough matchup to play out of. They do come in with a Typhlosion, and they are probably going to be able to get a full Incinerate farm down. So yeah, this game is over. We have 2 shields, but I don't see a win con. We have grabbed a shield in this matchup, so if we're able to get both if we're able to grab a shield and then get to a Brave Bird here after this full farm down, maybe we can get there, but no, the opponent already has enough energy for the Icicle Spear, so we are just going to let that go, and unfortunately we do lose that game. Another tough lead, Pidgeot, but this one is on Wing Attack, interestingly enough. We are going to once again go for the Shadow Bone. Both are double resisted, and yeah, that does okay chip for being a double resisted charge move, but then they go for a Feather Dance, which means this is going to do even less damage. I personally would have probably banked this energy and then switched in the Pidgeot, but just going to go for a soft loss on the lead once again, and then get an energy lead on Shadow Pidgeot. They do just go for a Feather Dance again, so we're actually going to switch into our Amoonguss and get a double resisted Astonish down. So yeah, bit of a strained play from the opponent. They had no idea what to do when they saw the Amoonguss come in. And they do let their Pokemon go down there, but in comes a Toxapex. The Toxapex isn't going to enjoy a Grass Knot. They might be able to survive a foul play pretty comfortably, so yeah, but we do get that chip damage off before they're able to full send a Sludge Wave, which they do, which is nice, because now we can just come in with the Pidgeot, get a very nice energy lead, and that's exactly what we're going to do, and it's a Dusknoir in the back. So yeah, this game is over. The opponent resigns the match. Neutral lead in the next match, believe it or not. Yes, it is Water into Fire, but it's also a Ghost into a Poison. I'm surprised we're actually going to switch out of that matchup, because I believe Shadow Marowak wins the ones just off of pure pacing. We do correctly shield a Sludge Wave, which is nice, but able to get to a Grass Knot. The opponent clearly doesn't have a great response to the Amoonguss, but are just going to let the second charge move go. It is another Sludge Wave that does big damage, and it is probably either double Ghost or Grumpig in the back, which is why we didn't see an instant save switch. That foul play does connect, which means we can probably come in with the Pidgeot and get a full Gust farm down before they're able to get to a Dynamic Punch. I believe this should only be enough for a Shadow Punch, and it is. That is double resisted, and it's a Dachshund in the back, so we're going to instantly pivot into our Marowak, where Charm is resisted, going for the Shadow Bone. Shadow Bone does connect. The opponent comes back in with the Toxapex only to get Fire Spin farm down, so they just resign the match. Into the next match, we've got Golurk on the lead. This is a terrible lead, so we're going to instantly pivot into our save swap of Amoonguss, and we bait out a Ninetales. Full sending the Grass Knot, not even going to bait here, and they do get a correct shield there, but unfortunately now they're at back-to-back moves, so we have to just let this go. But that means we can come back in with the Marowak. They will probably be on Psyshock, so we'll have to take one Psyshock here at least. But if they're not, then all of their charge moves are resisted, and they're actually on Dazzling Gleam, so able to get the full farm down. Now in comes the Pidgeot, and it is a Dachshund in the back, and now this is where grabbing a shield advantage in the mid game comes in clutch, because the opponent lets that go, and because they're throwing energy, I think we have to shield this up. No, gonna go for a farm down instead, and we are able to get that farm down, but I don't think that's quite enough, because yeah, even though we are able to get to back-to-back Bone Clubs, that Mud Slap is going to be enough to KO. I think we had to commit the shield there, but it was hard because Charms would have added up. But into the next match, Pangoro lead. Gonna do the same thing that we do against the Primeapes, going for a Night Slash catch onto our Amoonguss, but we were unsuccessful. The opponent holds onto their energy, and then they pivot into a Steelix. But this Steelix is on Dragon Tail, so Dragon Tail is neutral here as opposed to Thunder Fang, which would be resisted, and they have super effective Psychic Fangs. Are going to go for a foul play here. This will be enough to KO and potentially flip switch. The opponent shields. Now, what do you want to do? Do you want to give them... yeah, I think that is the right play, because now we can probably get an energy lead on Pidgeot. No, just going to go for a little bit of energy on the Marowak, and that actually proves to be huge because they have a Bastiodon in the back, so now we can connect with double super effective Bone Clubs. Are we going to throw on CMP? We are. Perfect counting from Jamie Finn here, going for the Bone Club on the CMP tie. If they let this go, do we let this go and run with 2-shield Pidgeot? I think we do. Gust is double resisted here, but the opponent makes a huge mistake. They pivot back into their Pangoro and their Energy Dry on their Bastiodon here. So we're just going to double shield here and then hope that we can get a full farm down with Gusts or make it to back-to-back Air Cutters. We're at back-to-back Air Cutters, but we're going for the full farm down. and we are able to take that win. Fantastic lead in the next match, leading Marowak into a Fortress. They safe switch into a low kicks, and they are instantly met with Gust Pidgeot. Now all charge moves are resisted here. Are we going to shield this up? No, we're going to let the Trailblaze go. It would hurt, but it's not going to be enough. We pivoted quick enough. They come back in with the Fortress. Now they're going to be met with a Brave Bird. Do they respect the damage? They do not, so that does huge damage. They know they're aligned against the Marowak, so they don't really have anywhere to go. We get the full Fire Spin farm down, and the opponent has had enough, so they just resign the match. Dusknoir on the lead in the next match. Tough lead, so we're going to instantly pivot into our Amoonguss, and we bait out the Furret. Now, this is great. We do not want to see Furret anymore, so we bait it out, and they're going to be forced to go for a Swift here, and Swift is not going to be enough to KO, so they're going to have to throw 2 charge moves if they want to get the knockout here, which is exactly what our opponent does without giving up a shield. But that is fine, because now we can just go for the full Fire Spin farm down. If they make it to another Swift, so be it. This is double resisted damage, and now we have a Bone Club for later. Do they come back in with the Diggersby? No, they have... do they come back in with the Dusknoir? No, they come in with a Diggersby, which is actually pretty unfortunate. They then catch the Dusknoir, they Bone Club onto the Dusknoir. We connect with a Bone Club, and they are on Hex, so this is going to be enough for a Dynamic Punch, and we are going to respect this damage. It is the Dynamic Punch, no baits from our opponent. Is 2 Gust enough to KO? It looks like not quite. Going to commit both shields here, and they do make it to another Dynamic Punch. They snipe with the Diggersby, but that's fine. Fire Punch is non-stab. It's going to take, it looks like 3, and the opponent, after seeing that damage, just resigns the match. Into the next battle, another Golurk, so tough lead, instantly pivoting into our Amoonguss here, and this opponent stays in to chip with a Shadow Punch. We are going to commit the shield because clearly they do not have a great response, and they have a Shadow. Is that a Rhydon on my screen? It is, so that is crazy. Able to get to a Grass Knot and a Foul Play, but the opponent does throw on CMP, knowing the counts. So very nice play there. Are they on triple Mud Slap is the question, because if we've baited out their best Mud Slapper, this could be interesting. And we're actually going to come in with our Pidgeot and then go for a catch on a Marowak. What did we catch onto our Marowak here? It's the Surf. The opponent did react in time, which is unfortunate, but we're fully committing to our Pidgeot here. Going to let this go. It's probably just a breaking swipe. But does it get the attack debuff? No, but it is triple Mud Slap, and they have Rhyperior in the back, which is unfortunate because, yeah, I think this game is over. They make a catch, too, onto their Golurk. Yeah, this game is beyond gone. Incredible plays by your opponent. They are somehow outspicing a triple Shadow team with their own triple Mud Slap team, which is absolutely insane. Very well played from your opponent. Decent lead in the next match. We've got Marowak into a Piloswine, and they safe switch into a Pidgeot of their own. We are going to eat this charge move and then come in with our own Pidgeot. Just probably going to go for a 1-shield farm down, come out loaded with energy to threaten this Piloswine in the back, or in the lead. Do they come back in with a Piloswine? They do. I'm just going to bait with an Air Cutter here. I guess the opponent knows they need this Piloswine to get rid of this Pidgeot, which allows us to also get to a second Air Cutter, which is nice because this will do some decent chip, but the opponent actually lets it go. And now we can just come back in with the Marowak. They know we are low enough, so they're just going to throw an Icicle Spear. And what is in the back? It is a Nidoqueen. So Poison Jab is resisted here, which means we can get 2 charge moves off here, and then probably switch into our Amoonguss. That's exactly what we're going to do. Instantly pivoting into the Amoonguss. They could go for an Earth Power. This is neutral damage, and it would do absolutely massive damage, and it does. That connects. But now it's we are at the Foul Play, and Foul Play from this range should be enough to KO the Piloswine, and we're able to take that win. Into the final match of the video, we've got Tough Lead and Drifblim. We're going to instantly pivot into our Amoonguss, and the opponent stays in and tries to go for a Foul Play catch onto their Primeape, but they're unsuccessful, which means we can actually connect with a Grass Knot. They go for a Rage Fist, but we're able to get the full Astonish farm down and flip switch, which is absolutely massive. The only unfortunate thing here is they banked an Icy Wind, and while Marowak is a good answer to the Karate Chop Machamp in the back, they're going to come out loaded with energy, and Rock Slide or Stone Edge is massive, super effective damage against the Marowak. So where do we go from here? I think we have to just sacrifice it. Yeah, just going to no-shield it. We're thinking the exact same thing. They do go for the Rock Slide. Fortunately, they're not on Stone Edge, and I think this is where we commit both shields. We can live one, so yeah, we're going to let one go. And Astonish is double resisted, so just going to go for the full farm down. And at this point, I don't think Karate Chops will be enough to KO before we're able to get a Gust farm down, but the opponent has no shields remaining, so just going for the Air Cutter, picking up the knockout, and we're able to take that win. But yeah, that is a triple Shadow team showcased by Jamie Finn himself. He submitted the battles to the channel, so much appreciated, Jamie Finn. Please check him out. He's got great content over there. But that's going to be it for me from this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, peace.